Ba-ba-ba-bum. All right. All right. How we doing, guys? This is Aaron Bennett with Hack Nation Live. This is Hack Nation Live with Aaron Bennett, one of those two. Good to see you. Good to see you. If you're new to the show, again, we do this every Wednesday night from 7 to 9. If you don't know who I am, you can find me on social media as Hack Nation. I probably the most known name in diesel engine rebuilding as far as on highway in the United States. Because of that, I get inundated pretty regularly. Our call center does, and I do, from people that would just like to ask me questions. We get hundreds of those phone calls a week. So I take this time out every Wednesday night to come here and see who all I can help out and give people a chance to talk to me. I just don't have, it's not feasible for me to answer all the questions that I get throughout the week. So that's what we're doing here. And we highly encourage you guys to join in the comment sections. I try to interact with them as much as possible. This is a call-in show. It's a call-in centric show where we encourage you to call in and be a part of the show. The number to call in is 573-422-4225. If you would like to be a part of the show. If you're watching it on TikTok, you get a little better experience over on YouTube or even Instagram. Instagram lags a little slower than the rest of them, but you're more than welcome to hang out from TikTok. I do incorporate the headset into there so you can hear the caller as well. So, what is that? Anyway, what would cause a fuel system to lose prime on a 3406A? Well, according to the troubleshooting guide, most of the things that will cause you to lose fuel pressure are from the pump back. So first thing you want to do is take the supply fuel line off right there at the little pump. Man, this phone's shaking like crazy. And put it in a bucket of fuel and see if that eliminates your problem. If it does, you know that it is nowhere in the engine. It's going. How big of a shop does one have to be to get in contact and buy parts from you guys? I've been following you guys. Like, your product only doesn't overhaul. I don't think size is necessarily a big requirement there, James. If you call the call center and just ask to talk to Jacob. Jacob is my son. Him and another guy handle all the shops. What my understanding is we don't have a minimum requirement because we just really feel like that's gonna kind of hold up our mission statement of trying to get out there and help make a difference as fast as possible. It's a little hard to do that when guys got to spend $50,000 with you or $100,000 before you leave and treat them like a human being. So I don't think there is how big of a shop requirement. So give a call tomorrow and just kind of let them know, just make an inquiry. Good guys down there. My kids, they'll definitely get you lined out. I ate a little bit of food right before I started the show, and the fruit flies came out of nowhere, and they're just haunting me right now. I'm eating a hamburger. These must be the carnivorous fruit fly. And we do have one caller. We'll get to you here in a second, brother. Again, guys, the number to call in is 573-422-4225. I hope you all have had a good week. I know I have. I was really sick last show. I'm still not completely over it, if you can believe that. My voice is just now coming back. Yesterday, I was still having a little bit of a hard time talking. I'm still pretty stuffed up. Yeah, that one kicked my ass. Every single person here got sick or is currently sick. and every one of them has lost their voice. It's kind of funny. So pretty interesting bug that ran around. Everybody's losing their voice. You think it's the pump? Well, I mean, it could be. It certainly could be, but I'm dealing with a B model right now, very similar. And kind of give you an example. It only has like 30 psi fuel pressure, and that was the first thing I did was change the pump. It didn't help at all. Those pumps are pretty bulletproof. I certainly wouldn't just go to them directly as going to be the problem. But first thing to do is drop that fuel line in a bucket of fuel and just make sure before you start, that pump's not cheap. It's like $700, $800, $900. I wouldn't start with the pump. I would start with some free. So can't wait to get my new turbo and manifold. Well, I don't know which turbo and manifold is yours because for some reason, man, we got inundated with people buying turbos and manifolds. And, we had 50 of them come in here. We spent 3 days. We prepped them all. We did all the work to them. They're gone. And my boys are scrambling. They got me another 30 in today. And one of my sons, my oldest son, and my nephew are in the coating room right now. I mean, we've been closed for an hour. They'll probably be there another 2. By the time I get off this show, they'll still be in there. We are trying like hell. So many people bought turbos and manifolds from us that it's just been something else. So I know there's 3 or 4 guys that'll probably be working till 10 o'clock tonight just to try and fill all those orders tomorrow. So nothing wrong with that. Let's go ahead and get to the callers. We got a couple of them now. The comment section is not really on fire anyway, so we'll go ahead and see if the phone lines are even working properly. Hello, you're on the air, man. What can we do for you?
Yes. This is Aaron.
Yeah, man, let's go.
Yes. So I have a C15 cat, and I just bought it in April. Put it on the road a month ago now. And anyway, it's using oil about somewhere around a gallon a week. But I can't see no leak. I was just wondering, what's your thoughts on that? Where should I look? Is it broken rings, you think, or?
Well, I mean, so you did it back in April, so it's been a little. I mean, how many miles do you think you have?
No, I just bought it in April. It had been rebuilt 200,000 miles before I bought it.
Okay, so
But
what I was gonna say is if it had just recently been rebuilt, like when we finish an engine, the guy comes to pick it up. Part of the conversation I have with a guy, besides don't idle it and tell them all the things that we would like to see them do to get the most life out of the engine. Part of what I tell them is we expect you to burn a gallon of oil in the first 10,000 miles. So don't call us, oh, I burned a gallon of oil.
okay.
But you're far beyond that. When you're at 200,000 and you're burning a gallon a week or whatever, you got problems. So you either have like a carbon packed piston that wiped out a liner, or you got a broken ring, or if you're not leaking it on the ground, then you're putting it out the blow-by tube under load, right? So either in the very
Not the blow-by looks good.
It looks good when you're sitting there at an idle. You're not hanging out underneath the engine there when you're under load. Going down the road 60 miles an hour at 60 pounds of booze is what I'm getting at.
Oh, I got you.
Right. Whenever I say under
You're
load,
saying it might be coming out.
Yeah. Whenever I say under load, 99% of the time, I'm not talking about you have a trailer hooked on and you're loaded really heavy. What I mean under load is you have the engine under load. In other words, you're making combustion at max boost. That is an engine that is under load. So
I do heavy haul. So the heaviest I get is about 116,000. But do you think it would be beneficial to take the cylinders out, the pistons out, put those, what do you call them, endless rings?
Gapless rings. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Those gapless rings are pretty damn cool. No doubt about that. I still have some. But long story short, I mean, it's not going to cure the problem that you have now, right? You should be able to. I mean, if you don't want to spend the money and tear it down and figure out what's going on, which that's not the advisable thing to do, right? The advisable thing to do is find somebody reputable with a dyno. You know, most dyno tests are only like $250 to $500. So go find somebody with a dyno, like Big Shop up in Dallas or wherever, and have.
Yeah, I have one close by my house.
Okay, so they can put they can put a blow by meter on there and put that thing under load and tell you how bad you're blowing by under load. And it wouldn't surprise me one bit. You call back next week and say it's kind of off the charts.
Okay. All right. The other question I had, my son has an N14, and he wanted me to ask you. He has owned it for like 4 years now, and he's had to change injectors about 7 times now. Not all of them, but, you know, again and again had problems with the injectors. And I told him, I said, well, put some good aftermarket ones in. And he said, I don't think I can get any. I said, well, let me ask Aaron. I think we can get aftermarket. He says the ones that he gets are factory reman.
Are they made by? This is N14, right?
Yeah, it's just a common N14 that's red top.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of aftermarket manufacturers of them. The number one, as far as quantity, I believe, is probably Interstate McBee. They're who I use, for the most part. And then
you say Interstate McBee?
Yeah, I understand. We have them. I mean, if you need a place to find them, just give us a call. We can hook you up. But we've gotten hooked up with a different manufacturer of injectors, and we're starting to use those in everything, and we're having really good luck. So we're probably going to adopt it as our product. And I just want to have injectors. So we quite a few of the brand that we're selling, but I just kind of keeping it. And haven't been having any usual. You know, the amount of injectors we go through.
Yeah.
I kind of have this rule. It's usually the solenoid that causes most of the problems.
I got
you. Your N14 injector. Your N14 is the most notorious of all of them to go bad. Just so you know. And a lot of guys tell you to go to Premco to get them, but you know, we sell Premco big cam injectors because they make the best ones, hands down. But they don't in-house make the N14s. So, you know, just because they have this stellar reputation for big cams, I'm not going to sit here and tell you to go get N14. I'm not telling you not to. You're not going to get worse ones in some other place.
Right.
But they kind of ride that big cam reputation along with their N14s. So, you know, and they should probably disclose that they don't actually make those, because they do make the most reliable injector on the market for the big cams.
Right. All righty. That's all I needed.
All right, brother, man.
So,
good luck.
Thanks, Aaron.
Yep. Bye. I got another caller here. Again, guys, the number to call in is 573-422-4225. Somebody asked, how do I get a C18 cat and is it worth it? And then somebody underneath said, for a boat. And that would be my sentiment as well. If your C18 that you're looking for isn't for a boat, you should probably abandon that venture. A C18 is capable of 700 horsepower in a truck, but it was never designed to be in that variable torque application, and they don't fare very well. You're not going to get massive mileage out of it at 700 horsepower in a variable torque application. You're way better off with a C15 turned up a little hotter than you are with a stock C18 as far as longevity goes. Put that thing in a boat where you're running at a constant, it's going to last a lifetime. But it was never meant to be in that application. It's way too oversized, undersized block with oversized bore size. Doesn't do well in a variable horsepower application. I've seen them in Peterbilt and Kenworth. I have seen them as well. Curious if there are any injector brands you would steer clear of. We typically sell Bosch and Delphi, sometimes genuine Cummins OE. Well, here's the thing, man. Bosch makes most of the genuine injectors. They really do. And we sell a lot of Bosch as well. I've used a lot of Bosch, especially like your Detroits. You're going to use Bosch. Bosch makes most of the OE injectors out there. You can't really go wrong with them. And you have a whole plethora of aftermarket guys doing it. You got your ATL, you got Highway and Heavy Parts, and all these guys, and they all do a pretty good job. But when it comes to injectors, they've all, I've talked about this a million times. All the injectors, for these older trucks are 20, 30 years old at this point. So they've been remanned so many damn times that really you got to zero in on the guys that are going to stand behind their injectors. I wouldn't want to deal with like PDIs, like dealing with CAT. If you buy injectors from them and one goes bad, then you're spending 6 months trying to find out if they're going to warranty you. You got to buy some from them. Where some of these other guys are a lot more likely to send you an injector, you send that one back, and you just move on with life, right? Because they just accept the fact that they can't be 100% on 25-year-old injectors that have been remanned 30 times. At least that's our attitude on it. When guys buy injectors from us and if they have problems with them, we just take care of it. And that's really, in my opinion, what you kind of need to look for, because injectors are so prone to being problematic at this point in history where we're at. You know what I mean? You ain't buying new injectors. You're just not. Somebody asked a question about the Hall Road. See, my voice is still a little cracky here. Oh, there it is. Isaiah said, I'm interested in running the Hall Road in the future. Can you talk about your experience in Alaska and what I should think about before doing so? Yeah, I'll see if I can squeeze that in here, but let's go ahead and take this caller. Long story short, guys, if you want to call in again, guys, it's 573-422-4225, 573-422-4225. Justin, you're on the air, brother. What can we do for you?
Yeah, I got a 23 Pete with a PACCAR in it, and the warranty is going to be up in 4 months. And I tired to death and doesn't see any future in getting this deleted, so I was thinking of pulling it and putting in a ACERT. And I'm wondering, should a guy do compounds, or could a guy put like a quick spool single? Or what are your thoughts? This truck's got a 13 automated in it.
So I kind of have mixed feelings on that. For one thing, I love the twin turbo. Okay, but here's my thing.
Yeah.
If you're gonna, so I was just talking to a guy today about this. He's calling in, buying parts from us, and him and his mechanic were gonna single it out and this and that, but they wanted to keep the twins. They were gonna reduce the compression, but they wanted to keep the twins. You either got to go all the way or you got to leave it. All right, you don't want to do in the middle, because that's how they get eaten alive. So if you're gonna roll it back to a 6NZ style engine, you got to go all the way, right? If you're going to leave it the way it is, then leave it the way it is. Don't be one of those guys that deletes the pre-cooler and deletes the IVAs or the VVAs, whatever you want to call them, and leaves it everything else on it and thinks that he did something miraculous for his engine. You certainly didn't. An ACERT engine, the way that it came from Cat, is a phenomenal platform. It runs great, works great, and personally, if I was buying trucks right now with ACERTs in them, you wouldn't find me going and singling them out and getting rid of the VVAs. I never did. I left them all the way that they came, and I drove them that way. I love them like that. I think they're a phenomenal setup.
Okay.
But if you are going to go the other route,
Well,
because you got your heart set on it, go all the way.
no, I guess one of my buddies is trying to talk me out of the compounds because he was having issues, but I've read a lot of threads I put out there on ACERTs on Facebook, and most guys are saying keep the compounds, lower the compression 16-1, and shut the IVAs off.
Idiots are saying that. Idiots are saying that. Guys that don't give a fuck about the fact you're going to be visiting somebody like me, right? It's shortly after you get it done. You know, you're going to get a couple 100,000 out of it, and you're going to walk around liners and crack out heads and wonder why the damn thing won't stay together and keep throwing money at it and yada yada. I'm not that guy, man. When I put a truck together, I want to go make money with that thing. These things are for making money, right? And if I can pull 113,000 pound load up 8 or 9% grade with twin turbos and stay out of the high side, well, fuck off. I don't need to do a bunch of other dumb shit to it. I'm making money, right? And if I can get 700,000-800,000 miles out of it consistently working it that hard, that's the engine I want, right?
There's a couple gentlemen that theirs are all stock, and they said they have 1.5 million. So I was just wondering, when I get this, I got an MXS, and you put it to 17-1 compression, leave the IVAs and the compounds, and I was thinking of doing a 625 platinum in it, putting in it.
Okay, so your 17-1 is a 6 1/4 piston. So again, if you're going to do that, go all the way. That means you're going to have to get a different camshaft, different injectors, and I believe the turbos are different as well. I don't know why I'm having a brain fart, but for sure the injectors, and they're very expensive, and the camshaft, and it is very expensive, along with those 17-1.
So go to a 6 1/4.
Yep, your 6 1/4 injectors are much bigger. And your camshaft is about $1,000 more. And it's a really hard camshaft.
Okay, yeah, because this it's an MXS, and I think it's a 435, 550. It isn't a 6 1/4. But I was thinking of turning it to the 6 1/4 and then putting a 550 tune in it.
Oh no! If you're gonna make a 6, it's like you're not a tuner. Pick one of these things, pick one of the avenues you want to do, and go all the way. Don't mix and match. Don't build a Frankenstein. Don't do any of that, or you're going to be that guy who gets 1,000 miles out of it, and everything's all fucked up again.
What do you think I should do? Just do the P15 555. Are they 18-1 compression?
Yep.
Factory?
Yep.
Do the 18-1 compounds and leave it on.
The most affordable option is that one.
Okay. Or what do you think? 555, 600 of the wheels.
You're gonna have 550 just leaving it stock, and it will put all of that to the wheels, and the torque on them is phenomenal. And they'll hang in there at 1,200 RPMs and won't go over 800 on the pyro, and just fucking get it.
Okay, so leave it all 18-1. I was on compounds, and
yeah, that's why
it was built.
That's why I always loved running the ACERTs. I owned lots of trucks, and I had every cat on planet Earth in my trucks, from 6 NZs and 2 WSs and 5 EKs, and the old E models and B models, and I had 3 trucks with B models, and I had them cranked to the moon. But when we were getting hard pulls and stuff, and we were having to drop gears, those guys had to drop way more gears than me because they had to keep the RPMs up to keep the EGTs cool. I could lug my fucking Acert down there, hang it down there around 12, 1300 and pull a 3 mile uh, uh, 10, over 100 something thousand in there.
Okay.
So
and leaving it at that 18-to-1 factory,
yes.
like my buddy's 04 Acert was blowing head gaskets every 100,000 miles.
Yeah. So like Keith just said in the comment section, quit listening to the truck stop mechanics. They're dumbasses. They really are. You know, I see the Facebook groups, and I get tagged in there a lot.
Yeah.
So I'll scroll through there. I'm not a member of any of them, but I'll scroll in some of the, God, those guys are dumber than fuck.
Yeah.
They keep me busy. I could tell you that.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to, because it's a lot of money, and I just want to get the best bang for my buck, and power and reliability is what I want.
Yeah, you're going to spend a lot
I
of
don't
money.
want to piece together some piece of shit.
Which is what you're going to do. You try to make a Frankenstein based on truck stop idiots.
Okay.
I'll just leave her the way it is,
Alrighty.
brother. All right, man. Well, good luck with it, though.
Thanks.
Yep.
Yeah, take care. Bye.
Oh, boy, there's kind of putting the cart before the horse just a little bit. He doesn't even probably know the adventure he has in front of him doing that swap. That's a hell of a deal there. Anytime you're doing a repower, buckle up. It's a hell of a deal. Yeah, idiots will spend your money for sure. They have no problem spending your money. How do you feel about using turbo blankets? Turbo blankets are awesome. I've always liked turbo blankets. These days we ceramic coat everything to eliminate the need for some turbo blankets, and that's kind of the trend. Turbo blankets are quickly becoming a thing of the past. Anybody that's not ceramic coating turbo is certainly starting to, especially with our lead out on it, and you have PDI does it and Full Tilt does it and we do it. And pretty much anybody that's not doing it's getting left behind. So I think you'll see turbo blankets become a redundant thing of the past very, very quickly. But there's certainly nothing wrong with a turbo blanket. Anytime that you're containing any heat lost is energy lost, right? That's really what all of our coatings are about. You take an engine, go drive it 20 miles and bring it back and everything's hot. All of that heat, without exception, is energy that got lost and got soaked into the engine. So, when we're doing ceramic coating on the pistons, ceramicing the manifold and ceramic the turbo, all we're trying to do is move more of the heat into kinetic energy than otherwise would have been lost, right? So thermal energy to kinetic energy, that's what you're doing with any diesel engine. That's the purpose. So the more of it that gets transferred, the more horsepower you're getting, the better fuel mileage, in theory, the better longevity, the whole 9 yards. You're not soaking all that heat and losing it. So coated or blanket? Obviously I'm biased towards coating because I do coating, but I certainly haven't shied away from using blankets in the past. I don't know. Certainly more convenient just to buy a turbo that's already coated. I would have to look at them under a thermal camera, which I will be doing a hell of a lot of that. I've done some of that. I got to go watch a lot of controlled testing on on ceramic coatings, but once I get my dyno going, I already bought a thermal camera gun, and all of that just for doing exactly what you're talking about. I can't wait to get it up and running. The only reason I put my dyno on hold is because we're relocating to a new location, and I didn't want to put all that work into that dyno and then, assemble it. Now it's 10 times heavier than it would have been, and I can't load it up and get it out of here. So I had to put it off. Our move date is February 1st. It was when we get the new shop, and I'm going to rent both shops for the month of February as we're kind of moving everything over. So I assume somewhere coming into March, hopefully I'll have a dyno up and running, and we'll start doing a lot of tests where we can see, we'll put some ceramic coated pistons in, some regular, run some engines and see what that thermal transfer looks like. I've already got to see that. So I know what it looks like, but it's going to be fun to show everybody else. So I'm pretty excited about it. If you have ceramic coated turbo, is it better to wrap down the pipe all the way to the white pipe? I don't think so, man. Once it's exited the turbo, you've gotten all of the energy out of it you're going to get, right? Because you're spooling the turbo for the intake side. Once it's gone, it's gone. I don't think it's going to make any difference. Where's our new shop? It's only 15 minutes from the shop, but it's more like a world class facility compared to this one. I have enjoyed being here. This one been farther up path, so to speak, but it has 12 drive-through bays, 6 offices, and huge. I don't even know how to describe it, but the main thing is it has power limited here on some of the machines I would like to have, because we don't have 3-phase power. So getting that 3-phase power is going to be a game changer for us. We can get a lot better washing machines, and hot tanks and stuff like that. And we will be ready for a Rottler, which I would like to. I can't even own a Rottler here because there's no 3-phase power. I've looked into it. The power company tells me 1 to 2 years. Overhead crane. The shop is designed for an overhead crane. I don't think we'll get one because it's just not how we operate. We go too fast for an overhead crane. It might sound kind of crazy that I'm not even interested in overhead crane, but if you came here and saw the way that we do things, you'd be like, yeah, these guys need a crane. And we just down too much. Ain't time for them slow ass cranes. We haul the mail. The system that we have in place was born around not having an overhead crane, and we just become very, very efficient at it. Do you? I don't think that should be something for the Mid-American Truck Show. I will obviously be sharing that. So we got lots of callers, guys. Probably better jump back over. I've been enjoying the comment section, but duty calls. All right. You're on the air, brother. What can we do for you?
Are you there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah.
Hey, I've got a problem with a C15. Been fighting it for years. Guess I'll start you from but it it's an MXS, and blew it up one day. So I was pretty new to all this stuff back then, but it took it to a shop, and everybody's converted to a single turbo and whatnot. So we did all that, but ran good for about 3 months or so, and then after a while, one day just in South Carolina, when I come to a stop, it was really bad, pretty hot day. Didn't think much of it, but worse and worse, and started thinking it's injector, so we put NET on. Well, it's this injector. Okay, well, after a bit, no, it's this one. So we got a whole new set of injectors in it. Cat reman. Ran for a little bit. Started doing the same thing, but it never logged a code. And we'd have Cat ET on it all the time. Miraculously, one day it popped out while we had the computer hooked up, and it was saying that it was the cam. No, not the cam. Your crank position sensor. So we swapped it out. Same thing. And it's got like this misfire. Not a misfire, but it idles rough. And I've just been fighting this thing for years, and we can't figure nothing out.
Well, I don't know why I'm not coming over my headset here. What's going on? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, as long as you can hear
I think
me,
I lost you
fine,
there
I
for a
guess.
second.
Long story short, you have that thing has timing sensors. You have your crank and your cam sensor. Have you changed them both?
Yes. When I did this conversion, what I later found out, I mean, it was hopped up way too far and whatnot. It was a time bomb anyways. What I found out later, it was an 8 compression kit still in it, but it was converted to a single turbo. So I've got to
it's pretty much an MXF, but it's got the 70-pin ECM, full tilt manifold. It's got pretty much a 6NZ now, but we did new harnesses. I've even got the different Jake housings for it. I mean, it's all done right the way it's supposed to be. We played with gear lash. I even had a guy calibrate it, and it's just, and the problem kind of comes and goes. It's got better days than others, but it's like a half of an injector. You there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Uh,
You're
um,
you're cutting out really
from
bad.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to figure out here. But yeah, then I got another set of flash injectors from Highway Heavy parts, and I slapped those in, and immediately I just knew my problem solved. Idle like glass for about 2 days again, and my problem's back. And I ended up overhauling the whole thing again because still with those 18-to-1 pistons and everything, blue head gasket, all. Put another set of injectors in it, problem solved. After 2 days, my problem's back. It's got idles like, sounds like it could throw a piston out the side of the engine. And I've went through my fuel, but either than that, I mean, we've done everything. I've had several people look at it, and it's just, nobody knows.
Have you changed the cam position sensor?
Why? And I've had people say, well, we put 3 harnesses on until we got the right one. So now I'm like, I don't know anymore. Am I that unlucky? I mean, do you think it could still be injector problem?
No, I don't think it was ever an injector problem.
So that first time, I do know I had combustion getting past the seat, and and I thought, well, then the second time I bought the remit out and whatnot, and I've done a million overheads. I've tried a different ECM on there, but the weird thing is, I mean, I've people say you need to buy a set of new cat, and I'm not there.
No,
and if I did have faulty
have you replaced the return line check valve and supply line check valve?
I've had 3 different ones in there. I've went from replacing the fuel lines, the fuel tank, the pickup tube,
I'm just talking,
the filter housing, the transfer pump, everything.
You're not having those kind of runnability issues. Just asking about that should be replace those.
Yes, like from the return line from the head.
It's in the fuel filter housing.
Yes, that with that little, let's say with the little marble in it, right?
Yep. So you replace.
Well,
those.
I mean, I've done both. Bought the whole filter housing, and then I went fast fuel system. And a bit better. But and I put clear lines in. I've got clean fuel, good fuel. I'm leaning lower where why. Now, after all these years, it brings me back to the first time where that crank position sensor, it kind of just lit up a little bit, but it's never came back on. Is there a possibility that it's timing and it's never thrown code, or did I get 3 bad harnesses already and 4 bad sensors? And
so it's possible that it is the crank sensor and it's not throwing you a code. It's also possible that your boost pressure sensor is causing all these problems. It's also possible that your barometric pressure sensor is causing all these problems. It's possible I've
replaced both of those too, but I've been monitoring it on the road while I'm driving, and like, let's say boost and all that, it matches somewhat what the truck is showing me. But you can tell on your boost gauge, it'll even flood a little bit, and all of a sudden I'll get into a good hill and it's smooth power, and then the next. And it's not really smoking. If you're against the sun, or you can see it a little bit in a mirror that it's just got a little puff to it. You can feel it, but then at idle, I mean, it shatters the truck, and it's I went as far as taking all my gears out and replacing all the bushings because it was rocking so bad, thinking that it might have had all my bushings so far out of whack that I had too much play. And I mean, there's nothing down. It's just problem continues.
Have you tried calibrating the ECM to the crank?
Yes, I had a buddy. Well, I told him I needed it done. And what all ended up, I don't know, but he stuck a finding pro and changed the pro wire to the thicken on ECM. So he put a pigtail in it with a new connector and said he got it done. But it almost felt like it somewhat ran better, but then it just started getting worse and worse again till finally we were able to do a cutout test where it actually failed one, and it would say 3 and 4. So I got a whole new set of the Black Series again, and it was fixed for just about a day, and it's gradually coming back. And I mean, it's never logging a code.
So
There's just
part of the problem.
nothing with
Part of the problem in trying with this one is the process, right? There's no rhyme or reason. There's no rhyme or behind it. You know, instead of being able to try and diagnose this, which I'm obviously not going to be able to, give you some suggestions for going forward, you need to get somewhere where somebody has or
yeah, because that's kind of my question. What do you diagnose? Because at this rate, everybody
I
do
have
it.
questions to ask you. Does it have stock exhaust, or is it the exhaust different?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I'm a dad. I'm shop that you think they'll tell you ready. Not within the I'd actually help my truck.
But
And everybody's like, "Oh, we've had trucks in here the 4th time." Okay, I'm almost like, it can't be that.
do you have an answer to the question I asked you though?
What's that?
Does it have the original factory exhaust?
But that's true. What?
Exhaust.
No, it's all straight pipe.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know, brother. I don't know the answer to what problem you're having. I just know that you need to somewhere there's better process of elimination go.
Guys that do that for a living and they're old timers and building their own engines and whatnot, and you think they've seen it all, but this one just, I guess, have you ever seen a truck that will do this type of stuff with either a crank sensor messed up or a
Yep.
cam position sensor?
Yep. I had one.
And-
I couldn't figure out, and the Canadians hooked up to it, and they said change the coolant temp sensor. and it was on a cat, and I was like, "Cool, change the temp sensor. It's what's causing the problems." So I changed the temp sensor, and the problems went away. And it was having similar problems, right? I still don't understand that one to this day, but um, uh, the engine needs. I mean, I do understand it. I shouldn't say I understand. The engine has so many different places: the coolant, the temperature, the intake air, the ambient air temperature, the barometric pressure that's being put on it. All of these things, it's gathering all this intel to optimize the fueling with the timing. And any of those things sync causes a problem.
I mean, at this point, I think it is not a mechanical or it's a fuel and air mixture problem. Right now, let's say I'm not throwing money at this stupid thing, but
Right. So, long story short, that's what I just said. You got to go see somebody that the solution isn't to keep throwing more money at it. That has not been working out for you. But anyway,
Well,
brother,
I guess we'll try some more shops. But at this point, everybody goes through the same process, and I'm paying them money to tell me the same thing over, and
yep. Well, I can fix for you.
Do they both run instantly
Yes.
when you're on the road, or does it only read off the?
No, it reads both.
Okay. Well, that I guess another sensor ain't that bad. I can try that. If not, we're going somewhere else.
Yep. Make your way down here. We'll take a look at it.
Well, I might try that because another thing I didn't mention is when I have constant routes to like Texas and Oklahoma and stuff. When I get down there on a humid day, it always needs to be working anywhere else. Back to elevation, it's not where it needs.
As the fuel gets hotter and thinner, the check valve's having a harder and harder time.
Even though I would be showing good fuel pressure, it could still be doing that.
Yep.
Okay, well, I've replaced that, but it's been probably 2-3 years. So at this point, I'm like, okay, maybe I already have a second problem on top of the other problem where you don't know anymore. But I guess that's not hard to change out. I can try it, see if it fixes it.
Yeah, with all these injector changes, it's a good idea because guys get shit in the rifle and it goes down in there, and that's where it ends up.
Okay, well, we'll keep tinkering with it, but it sure frustrates you.
Well, good luck with it, brother.
Time.
Have a good night.
You too.
Met Truck Center is no longer going to be doing chat and transmission work and all that. The liability is just too high, and they're completely consumed with the services that we're providing with parts sales and all that. I was there today for the second time this week. It's crazy calls, and that's having a hard time tonight. There's just really nothing I can do about it, guys. Somebody asked if the new shop will have better internet. The new shop will have fiber. So yes, we will have way better internet at the new shop. That's so Do I know anyone that does it? I can hear you. You're wrong. Uh, uh, is your 640 bill for? Anyway, guys, we stacked up a bunch of callers while we were going around with that last gentleman's. Probably better get to them. Sorry about the internet problems, but let's go through some of these callers here. Hello, you're on the air. What can we do for you?
Hey, Mr. Hunt. How you doing this evening?
Good. What do we got going on?
All right. I got a new to me every mile done by me DD15 in a 2023 Cascadia. I got a low RPM clatter between 1,000 RPM and about 1,300 RPM, and I am now starting to see my fuel economy slowly dip off over like the past 6 months, where we're barely getting 6.9 miles per gallon. The only issue the motor has had is a pressure fuel leak somewhere in between the tank and the high pressure fuel pump. And I change the oil about every 28 to 35,000. And I add stabilizer once every other 2 weeks.
Just starting to get some clatter.
Yeah. Now that it's colder, as the engine gets up to operating temperature, you can definitely tell. It takes it about 20 minutes to get the run optimization. It eases away, but low end takeoff, yeah, it's clattering. Not pinging, but definitely clattering like it's breaking out.
So what it sounds like is you have a fuel injector out on that thing, and as it warms, this kind of true all diesel engines. You can get an injector out, you first start it up and it runs like shit, then it seems like the problem goes up, and usually because all their engines are so efficient up, it just seems like the problem goes away.
And it's covering the dead injector.
Right, you have a runnability issue coupled with horrible fuel mileage. All of a sudden, you need to get it somewhere and have somebody do an injector test.
Alrighty. That answers that question. That probably be why the and the regens are close together, because they're on a lot of unburned fuel.
100%.
Well, you answered, and you're putting. Have a great evening.
Good luck and have a good night.
Bye.
Right back to him. Here on the air. What can we do for you? Logan, I think.
Hey, Aaron, how's it going?
Amazing, man. And what can I do for you?
Hey, I got a couple of questions. I got 2 trucks with X15 Cummins motors in them, and we're trying to figure out what the best oil is to run. Some say to run Delo, people say some guys are just, they're all Rotella. I just want your experience with all the you've owned and all the engines you've built. What is the best oil you think to run in these engines?
Well, I mean, I've tested a lot of oils. I don't know if you know that, but I've tested used controlled known mileage over and over again, the same road, the Alaska Haul Road, and I tested various oils and became very opinionated on oils doing that. Here in the last 6 months, we've tested a lot of oils here. We have one of those testing, friction machines, and tested a lot of oils here, which really just confirmed a lot of what I learned running the Alaska Haul Road. But here's the reality of it, right? First of all, there's no such thing as a tier 1 oil anymore. They don't exist. They existed in our father's lifetime, and if you're as old as me, when you were a kid, but they don't exist anymore. There's only tier 2 oils on the market, which means that all oils are pretty decent. all oils are pretty decent, right? Really comes down to how often you're willing to change it. One of the biggest problems I think is guys go too long without changing their oil. For me personally, 10,000 miles, that oil's getting got rid of. The only time I make an exception to that is if I'm running full synthetic. Don't ever waste synthetics. They're full synthetic if you want to extend the period, but even with full synthetic, I never went over 20,000 miles. Okay. Doesn't mean you could go longer. But oil's cheap, the engine itself, and all the damage that comes along with oil that's lost all its viscosity and suspension and things of that nature, right? So in reality, the best oil to use is the one that you're willing to change on a regular basis and as frequently as possible. I do know from my personal experience that Rotella is going to outperform Dello by a long shot. You know, they're all come from the same kind of base stocks, but it really comes down to their additive packages. And the crazy thing is that Dello is made by Chevron, and Chevron is one of the biggest producers of additive packages. You have Chevron and Lubrizol are the two main ones. There's a couple other small ones, but they're the two big guys that supply everybody else's additive packages. But it really comes down to how much they're willing to put in them in the mixture that they're doing. So, you know, on all the testing I've ever done, Dello always comes in at the bottom. Testing that you look online always comes in at the bottom. I think it's pretty safe to say they have one of the lowest tier oils on the market. But again, Dello 400 is a tier 2 oil that would outperform anything your grandpa had 100 times over. It really just comes down to how often you're willing to change it. That makes sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. And then another question
go ahead.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Don't go.
So another question that I had was, I just had to do a end frame on one of the Cummins, and I'm just wondering, you know, the motor made it to 700,000, which guys around here said that was extremely good. I'm in California, and a lot of guys are only getting maybe 500,000 out of their X15s. But I'm wondering what can I do to prolong the life of this motor? You know, because I mean, when you're paying, you know, like 30 grand for an overhaul, that's, you know, I just want to do as much as I can to try to prolong the life of this engine.
So we see a lot of engines here that are red and say Cummins on them of the 2350 stripe that go over 1 million miles. There's something that we see in common with all of them. There's almost no exception to this. There are some rare exceptions, but for the most part, it is the rule. The number one commonality we see in Cummins engines that have made it this far is they're not deleted. That is the number one factor. And you'll have all kinds of guys lose their shit and cry all over the internet saying it's the exact opposite. But I can unequivocally tell you the number one thing that determines the longevity of that Cummins engine is it's not deleted. It's a factory setup. And the guys that make it the farthest on those not deleted engines are the ones that didn't delete them in the first place because they're having so many problems with them. You know, I understand why guys delete them. They have so many problems. But the guys that are on top of it, you know, every 100,000 or 200,000, they're taking the EGR off and they're having it cleaned. They're staying on top of their air cleaners. They're really good about changing their oil. They're just on top of their maintenance. They're taking the intake off every couple 100,000 and having it cleaned out and all that. You know, those guys aren't losing VGT turbos. They're not having all these after treatment problems. They're not ending up with massive valve train damage, on and on and on and on. But if you were asking, what can I bolt onto my ISX to get the most longevity out of it? Probably the best bolt-on item you can put on one of those is a performance intake, followed shortly thereafter by a performance manifold. That's just because you want to cool off as much of that combustion chamber as you can possibly do to help with the fact that the liners tend to drop on those. And that does help quite a bit. And also, in California and hotter states like that, especially, cooling that oil quite a bit will help with the longevity of the oil, like that thermostat that we have. Or if you like spend a lot of money for something that is similar, you could get PDI's dual oil cooler. Pretty expensive to go, but it does exist. Those type of things help quite a bit with just how long that oil is going to last before it breaks down and stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure. So would you recommend a person changing out that thermostat and the oil cooler and then doing like a PDI intake manifold and exhaust manifold? And then what about like a stiffener plate? I've seen it on your TikTok how you're talking about the stiffener plate that you guys were talking about the other day. Would that really help out a lot? Because what happened with this engine was a liner actually cracked, it didn't drop. So I just want to try to eliminate a lot of the common problems of this thing.
So let's you said a mouthful there. First of all, I wouldn't put anything made by PDI on my truck. Not that they don't make some good stuff. They just, you're going to see this on repeat. You could talk to 1 million people that have dealt with PDI, and 999,000 of them, not all of them, but 999,000 of them are going to tell you about the great experience they didn't have whenever they had a problem or anything like that. Okay. There's better alternatives out there. We're a better alternative for one. At least we don't treat you like shit. But like for an intake, you could get full tilts intake. It's comparable to PDI's, just as good, way better treatment if you have any issues. There's all kinds of people that make that manifold. We make that manifold. PAI makes that manifold. Full tilt makes that manifold. So there's just better routes to go, in my opinion. Use Hacks manifold. I'm just saying, PDI makes some really good hard parts. I'm not going to say here and lie to you and tell you they don't. They're just not good people to deal with. Some other things you can do to dramatically increase longevity, is iPad. Consistently, the engines of any stripe have less damage than engines that don't have those, right? We've been set up to sell AMSOIL's bypass system for 2 months, but they're out of them. We're on the schedule to get like 100 of them because I really want to help people get those in their hands. But good grief, we might have to find somebody else. But everybody's so much more expensive. The AMSOIL one's the best price point out there. So that's which one I really want to have here. And the margin on them is only like $50 or something. So they're really not the best one from a financial standpoint to stock and sell. But it's not even really about that. It's just trying to promote people the idea of using a bypass.
Sometimes like carb, they get kind of weird about things. You know what I'm saying? Like they're real weird kind of about compliance and all that stuff. Even if
browser issue, but uh, could be a browser issue. The fuck, fucking Elon Musk to come back up here before we take those. I'm going to ask you to go over to TikTok and YouTube to watch this, because I think maybe if I get rid of one of these streams, maybe that will help. So, um, might help. We'll see here. In the meantime, let's go ahead and take a caller.
Hey, Aaron, how are you?
Good. Good, man. What can we do for you?
Seems to do any better or worse. It's always one fear. So a lot of guys said you should maintain it one minimum
Mm-hmm. That's correct.
and a cardboard.
That can help quite a bit. If this
Okay.
if this internet keeps going in and out, guys, then
Appreciate it.
all
Thanks
right,
for
brother.
your time.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.
Okay. I am going to reset the internet What is operating temp on a deleted ISX? Well, your operating temperature on any engine, diesel engine, is going to be 180 and above, and you want to be under 218. So 180 to 218. I think we're back up. I'm not 100% sure. Are we back up, guys? Is anybody even left? I have no clue. But I think we're back online. What's the What is the cost of DEF cleaning that you mentioned? Well, I never mentioned anything about cleaning the DEF, cleaning the EGR. What are my thoughts on an IPD kit for Cummins? That you're going to pay a lot of money for something you could get from everybody for a better price. Yeah, I restarted the internet. So we better get back to the callers. Hopefully they're still on here. You're on the air. Are you still there?
Hello, sir. How are you?
Well, thanks for hanging on, buddy. What can I do for you?
How you doing, boss?
Good, man. What can I do for you?
Hey, I just saw a couple pictures about the camshaft this morning or this evening. I had a truck I was running on about 68, 70 miles an hour with 80,000 pound loads. Truck was running fine all day. You know what I mean? It's been running temperature-wise, like I was trying to keep it in the range. It's winter time. I run up to Minnesota. I'm trying to keep the ranges wide, 195. You know what I mean? 190 to 200 on the temperature, on the coolant. I always run good on the oil pressure, 65 to 70 or psi on the oil pressure. Just out of the nowhere, man, I feel like honestly, I was driving and I feel like a transmission slip off. It was like when your clutch slip off or you feel like your clutch is gone. And I was able to kind of manage. I keep a lower gear on it for about like 3 to 3.5 miles. I would say 3 to 4 miles till like I can pull off the highway on a safe place, and I stopped the truck. So we towed from them the truck. After we find out original, we thought it was a clutch. It ended up happening a broken crankshaft, right, kind of the bull gear at the front end of the engine. Any thoughts about why that maybe caused that, or see, like I'm trying to say, the truck never gave me any signs or malfunction, or you know what I mean, or never had a heat up on the truck, nothing. Honestly,
So
it was just
the crank broke.
the crank broke completely, boss. Crankshaft. Yep.
Okay.
Around at the front end of on the towards the dumper, I would say.
Right. I wouldn't say it wasn't giving you any signs. If you were doing oil samples, you probably had lots of signs, right? What are the miles?
Okay.
What miles? How many miles does this thing have on it?
The miles, it's got to be around like 250, 300,000 after the review. Give it or take it.
Okay.
Trying to keep the oils I'm using on it. I use the Sinopec, the 1540 that you recommend, full synthetic.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, that was when the COVID. And just a few months ago, because I kind of stuck on the oil when the truck, the market, it was signaling go bad, and the oil kind of, it was pointing to lose, get loose from everywhere.
Yep.
So I kind of started a couple barrels, and I've been using it. And just couple months, I would say I'm using the Rotella P6 to try to keep it out with the full synthetic.
Right. I've used about 200 barrels of that stuff.
Yeah, I know, and I went with, because honestly, and it is a good oil.
Mm-hmm.
It is a good oil. I just don't got any, from barrels anymore. I just, like I say, honestly, I didn't do any oil samples because I didn't have any times from the truck.
Right, but it works the other way. It works the other way around, right? I'm not trying to get on your case or anything. We all get complacent, but it works the other way.
No, I'm trying to get an advice.
The oil samples are not what you do when you're getting signs. The oil samples how you get the signs. You know what I mean? It's the other way around.
Okay. Yeah.
So even if even if you're only doing them like every third or fourth oil change, you should always be doing some oil samples. Really, I mean, it just kind of lets you know. And you really don't break cranks 300,000 miles after an overhaul and say, well, it's because they did a shitty job. You know what I mean? Because they don't stay together that long.
No.
And I know you weren't saying
Yeah, I'm
this.
not trying to blame them.
No, I understand. I'm just talking, I'm talking to more people than just you. I'm talking to the audience as well, right?
Hmm.
So I'm just,
Okay.
I'm generalizing, but long story short, why did it break? I'm going to guess you have a spun main bearing, or a spun rod bearing. Why did that happen? I don't know, of course. But it probably didn't happen all at once. It's probably been coming apart.
Okay.
Somebody in the comments section, Howie says you break cranks by lugging, low RPMs. I absolutely disagree with that 100%. I've never seen a crank break because it was being lugged. Cranks break. And of course, I've done videos, you guys, that show you all the different ways that cranks break. If they break this way or that way or where they break, you can kind of determine why they broke. Crankshaft dampeners, they can break cranks. Your flywheel clutch system, they can break cranks. Cranks break from torsional fatigue. Cranks break from the main things, almost unequivocally. The main thing that breaks cranks is a degradation of a rod or main bearing.
That was one of the things. The clutch was replaced on that truck like 2 months ago. Because it was a previous oil leak on the rear main, and since we fixed the oil leak and the previous clutch it was 2 years already in the truck, I went ahead and changed the clutch just because it was already over.
It's incredibly unlikely that it broke from that, right?
The clutch.
Yeah.
Okay. Now,
I mean, you could have a dampener that went out, but you would have probably felt quite a bit of vibration before it took it out. Most likely, if you drop the oil pan, what you're going to find, and I would bet money on it, is either a rod bearing or a main bearing are spun.
a rod bearing. Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna try to work on that truck just tomorrow. But
Yep.
just trying to guess, trying to have any guessing or any idea what to look for.
Which means,
to go from there.
and why did it do that? Well, there's a list of reasons. The last time it was rebuilt, that journal might have already been compromised pretty bad, and it probably really should have had a new crank at that time. That's one possibility. Another possibility is you've developed quite a bit of crankcase pressure. I don't know how much oil you're having to add between oil change. Developed quite a bit of crankcase pressure and actually degrade. Think you are, and you actually have a lot of wear and tear going on everything, and that one just went the fastest, right? Delated rod or bearing or main bearing go out. You see that they're all going out, and one of them just accelerated way faster than the others. You know what I mean? But you're gonna have to drop a couple. You got to drop the oil pan and drop a couple bearings and see what's going on for sure.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you, Bruce.
All right, brother. Good luck.
Thanks for the knowledge, man.
Yep.
Honestly.
Bye.
Talking to you later.
And Howie, there, I'm not trying to get on your case. It's just, if lugging an engine, every truck I ever drove, it's just the facts. I would have broke every crank every truck I've ever owned. I would have broke the damn crank. I'm a lugging fool, especially if I'm grabbing gears on a steep incline and I know the road really well. And I know, if I get over this little hump, it mellows out a little bit. I'm going to grab 3 or 4 RPMs, just hang in this gear, and I drag her all down to 1,000, and I'm sweating bullets, and I crown out. Buddy, whew, I have lugged some trucks too where I was sweating bullets because at that point you're gear bound. If you're heavy and you're on a steep grade, if you're gear bound at that point. You're going to be pushing in the clutch and coming to a stop. You're not going to be at 1,000 or 1,100 RPMs, even 1,200 is real sketch, and go ahead and grab a gear. You're going to have to grab 2 gears. Nobody's fast enough to do that. You're going to grab 2 gears and try and get back into it, and doing that without busting a drive line or something. Jesus, right? it's just probably not going to happen, right? And I'm talking like you're already in the low side, you're in like 5th direct, or you've dropped 4th, and once you're in a hard pull and you're really heavy and you're in the low side already, going from 4th to 3rd, that's a feat all by itself. And going from, you're not going for 2nd and 1st, you've already come to a stop. If you're, it's not going to happen. Not if you're pulling any kind of weight up any kind of hill. If you've gotten all the way down to there, you're either hanging in there or you're coming to a stop and you're throwing some fucking chains to get going again. So I've been in situations so many times where I just had that fucker flat lugged out, watching the pyro, hoping I don't burn to the ground. Explain high EGT at low RPM. Well, drive an ACERT like I always did. Then it's not a problem. That pre-cooler does some miracles. Everybody, delete the pre-cooler. Well, fuck you. I want to hang it 900 RPM or 900 degrees on the pyro at 1100 in 3rd gear. Just torque the fuck out. You can delete your pre-cooler all day long. I'll leave mine. Thank you very much. All right, you're on the air. What can we do for you, brother?
David, it's your turn.
What can
Hey, Act Nation.
I thought maybe I brought you soon. What can we do for you?
No, brother. I'm a small shop in Atlanta. I rebuild a lot of Detroits. The last one I done, it was just a Detroit 12.7. It had oilers in the block, my in-frame kit with a PAI kit. It had oversized bearings in it. After I got it back together, I do a new pump. Got it back together, done good on the test drive. Got back, but it was in between 180 and 200. The oil pressure was like maybe 16, 18. And I let the customer know, and he let me know after this. He didn't let me know beforehand. The oil pressure has always been low. And so within the last frame, the head had been off 3 times in 200,000 miles. So after the counter, and there was a between 2 or 3 and 4, right between the cylinders, just a smoke. And the guy that was taking up. After that, I took the oil pan back off. I took the new oil pump apart, checked the gears, everything looked fine. I pulled a couple mains, pulled a couple rods, checked the torque on everything, replaced the regulator and what is it? On the suction or on the outlet tube.
You got a check valve and you got a pressure.
And then I took the valve cover off and, while it was hot, and had somebody crank it up, and I checked for any, major oil leaks from the rockers. I hadn't flipped the rock. But while it was cold, oil pressure was good, 60 PSI. And the whole time going down the road, operating, oil pressure is between 35 and 45.
Right. So.
But it's just
how did you figure
at idle?
How did you figure out I had oversized bearings?
Sure, it was a reman crank motor, but once I pulled the bearings, I was reading the back of them. They were oversized, but I didn't use plastic gauge to check the clearances or nothing like that.
Right. So I wouldn't go any further with it till you do. You can get them.
So you check the clearance.
Yeah. Check the clearance. Check the rods. If you're going to bother at all, your main should tell you anyway. Oversized But
I don't think I mentioned that when I,
But oversized bearings is the reason. It has caused enough grief in my shop over the last 15 years that you work because we want to know. We want to eliminate that right out before we even go back together. Get the new bearing, plastic gauge the new bearing to the crank, and make sure we're good to go. Eliminate that as being a possibility. I would be a little worried if I was in your shoes and you have cracks in a block. Let me just give you an example. We at Detroit just rebuilt just a little bit ago, and same thing. Great oil pressure. This that. Take it out and run it. Bring it back, and the oil pressure shit. It's below spec. Which yours is below spec, by the way. So yours isn't getting oil to everything like it should be. So you can't really let it go like that, right? So sorry, go ahead.
I did put a mechanical gauge on it too.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is correct. Maybe you can tell. I tied the oil pressure. Just put the two.
Still the oil rifle. Still the oil rifle. You're still good. I mean, that should have given you good reading. Imagine what you said in the cab.
Yeah, at operate at about 190, 200, I have 15 psi.
Right. So you got something going on. Either this crank's out of round, which is the most common thing we see with cranks that have been turned. They run with those oversized bearings, blah, blah, blah. And then when the next guy goes to put it back together, she's weaker, and we've found them to be out of round. So I really need to plastic gauge it. And I would plastic gauge it and then roll the crank, plastic gauge, like 180 or something, plastic gauge that same spot again, and see if you get different readings. That's a really good indicator of, okay, I got to out around crank. But let me give you an example. We here, it had oversized bearing. The damn thing had like 15, 16 pounds of oil pressure. We went and put a new crank in it, and that didn't fix the oil pressure problem. Ultimately, round and around we go. It ended up being actually a crack in the oil rifle on the inside of the block. And there was a 60 series Detroit. And that's why a lot of work, a lot of need crack. And that
crack from that old rifle is going to be dumping it back into the crankcase.
Fuck yeah. Yes.
Or
fuck
yeah. When I ordered size bearing parts, man, it was sad, and the guy I always used for machine work and counterboards, he said it's standard to turn a crank, on the main, say 10 thousandths over, but leave the thrust standard.
Yeah. That's
you, right. You said you done the main journal, but you didn't want to widen it.
Yeah. So the odds of your block being cracked are like a 1 in a million. It's much more likely that crank is no good.
Right.
And
that's what I was thinking. With the piece of oil always ran low, and we used a new oil pump during the rebuild.
Yep. And so those that pressure relief valve and that check valve that you're talking about, we include that in our rebuild price. We're going to change those every time. You should always do series for the price of the build.
Yeah.
They're not expensive.
Which yeah, it came in the first kit, but I was telling him, maybe we had a defective one, and I took, out of pocket, I covered the oil pan gasket, valve cover gasket, oil filters, and regulator and check valve.
Yeah.
But I told him after that, I'd double check my ass on everything. So I didn't know where to go from there.
Go on Amazon and or plastic gauges. That's the best place. They're really inexpensive, and you can get them right away. Get the plastic gauges, then you don't have to guess. It's that simple.
All right.
And you need them anyway.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
You have one purchase, you're going to have enough to last you 2 years. You need to be using them anyway.
Okay.
We send a picture to
And you said
the owner of it's always recorded.
Okay, that's what I was about to ask. So you said you plastic gauge every engine you build?
Yep. We didn't used to, but we do have probably for the last 3 years. It's part of our religion. We're gonna plastic into the owner. With measures everything.
If you don't mind, I've said I've rebuilt maybe 2 Detroits and a handful of cats. What I was with PAI and maybe 2 or 3 OEM kits. Should I be checking ring gap every time, or is it mostly? Are they mostly ready to go out of the kit?
So I'm going to answer that question 2 ways. Number one, as a role model mechanic, I'm going to tell you.
Or stock horsepower.
Right, I understand, but as a role model mechanic in our industry, I have to tell you, yes, you need to check gap on every lead. It cut out on over here, so I'll say it again. I don't check the ring gap. I don't require my guys to. I've never, ever had an issue from having that policy. But as a role model mechanic, yes, you should check your ring gap.
Okay. Yeah, that answers all my questions, man. I appreciate it.
All right, man. Have a good night.
All right, you too.
Yep, bye. That's the old do what I do advice. Even the rings that had custom made for us, the gapless rings. I checked a whole bunch of those. It says in there you got to check ring gap, blah blah blah, before you install. But we've installed, let's just say, a few of them, and because the ring gaps on them are perfect, and it's just like factory rings. So send them. Thank you so much for going the extra mile and getting me that Hack Nation manifold out as soon as possible. Should be here tomorrow. Right on, brother. Yeah, and I think 18 working bench truck center. We're all working in 10, and everybody is doing their best to try and make sure that we're fulfilling everyone's item fulfillment, everyone's request, and man, it's crazy. But we're getting systems down, and we're getting better. Enormous fucking satellite dish on top of this shop. You'd think it would just, I don't know, it's so fucking annoying. Elon, you suck. All right, we got 4 more callers. You're on the air. What can I do for you? Holy cow. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. It's you.
Hello. I was just wondering, I know this is a very vague question. I apologize ahead of time, but I've got a 3460. It's converted fully mechanical, and I need to do an end frame on it. I talked to you a couple of months ago about the pump. I never could find anybody around here to get the pump right, so ended up burning a hole in a couple cylinders. You got it at, he wants to use cat parts. He said if I was using the other parts that I needed to order them myself, and he would build it. This was a high horsepower engine. I don't know exactly how many horsepower before, but I just wanted to know the differences in your high horsepower kit and your performance kit and what that come with and how you felt, comfortable, safe horsepower for D model. I mean, like I said, I had over right at 600, maybe better than 600. My EGTs always stayed low. I kept RPMs up, pulling heels, and I never had any problems until I started having problems with my pump, and then come to find out it was nothing more than, I believe, the flyweights in the carrier.
Well, I mean, first of all, the Cat, I mean, of all the engines to say you're only going to use Cat, that's the worst one to say it on, right? Because Cat,
Right.
you're going to get an aluminum crown. You can order a kit from us. We're going to give you a steel one-piece crown that is so vastly superior to the Cat crown, it hurts to even compare them, right? For a better price
Right.
as well. Yeah, you I mean, if the guy's willing to rebuild it for you, you just got to go get the parts. Give Bennett Truck Center a call tomorrow. Give us a call tomorrow. Tell we'll get you lined out with a steel crown. You can even have it coated in it, but there is such better shit on the market than what Cat invented for those 30 years ago. I mean, that just stands to reason that there's going to be an improvement in this amount of time, right? And there certainly has been. So, as far as safe horsepower, man, those B models are hard to measure because it's not numbers in a computer. It is some mechanical adjusting. So I couldn't even guess what horsepower you're at. What's a safe horsepower for a B model? In my opinion, okay, somewhere between 10 and 15 over on the pump. 10 over, you're going to be pushing that 500 to 5 1/4. 15 over, you're going to be getting up there the 550, 575, somewhere. When I do performance builds on B models here, I usually go with a 15 over, and then I try and pick up, I'm trying to get to 600 horsepower. I'm going to try to pick up that extra horsepower with good manifold, good internals, and good turbo. You want to get enough fuel going to that thing that you can spool up a stage 1 turbo. That way you have really good Jake brakes as well. What that magical number is, in my mind, is 15% overall on the pump. Well, way than that.
Right.
Like that, where the driver decides the load of the truck or of the engine. I mean, if somebody look at the pump, I really would.
Well, the pump I look at, they got gone through, and that's when they found the pump got off originally. They found allegedly the flyweights had wear on them, and the flyweight carrier had wear on it.
Mm-hmm.
So I had them go back through, reseal the pump. They didn't replace anything else. They just inspected, resealed, put it all back together. It's got a 10-degree cam in the pump now, and that's how it was built originally, or not originally, but when it was rebuilt 400,000 miles ago, they put a 10-degree cam in it. I never could get the timing right after I had to put the pump back on. I tried a little, a lot. I never did. I tried retarding it, but I don't think maybe I went too far. I just never could find the same exact spot that like when I first bought that truck a year and a half ago, it ran perfect. I mean, it ran, and then the pump also didn't have screws in it. The screws were taken out. I know that's like the worst thing in the world supposedly you can do. But the EGT stayed low. I kept the RPMs up. It ran good. It got decent mileage. It's got a stage 2 turbo, a Bully Dog turbo, and a full tilt manifold on it. It had steel pistons in it, of course. Like to try to go back together with someone now, I want to try to build it as close to what it is right now. I mean, what stage heads should I try to use? And what's the difference in like your performance kit and your horsepower kit? What's what different parts, or what is different in the parts that changes one kit to another kit?
Well, it depends a lot on the platform. So for a B model, if I'm going to do a performance kit over a stock kit, it's going to be steel crowns. It's going to be a monotherm piston, and I'm going to recommend a round port head so you can do a modern manifold and a modern turbo course. But
I had round. I did have round port.
Right, you need to back up a little bit, and the screws are out of your pump. I think you got way bigger problems. I mean, you're not. I don't care how you build it. You're going to be back in someone's shop for too long.
Too much.
Oh yeah.
All right.
I
need to take it back to the pump shop.
You're probably up around that and staying in one piece.
Okay. I mean, and that's whatever I've got to do. The guy wanted to. I mean, he wanted to turn it down. He said 500. And I realize that 500 is all a man really needs. But I just know how it was before, and it was my first high performance. And like I said, I think I drove it well considering. But it was just once I had problems with that pump, and the pump come off. The first boy that pulled it off, when he put it back on, he never got timing right. And then 2 weeks later, shut off like he did ended pump shop. They usually said that it was the flyweights. I don't know if that's just going by what they said, but when I put it back together, I tried TDC, I tried advancing a quarter of a hole, half a hole, 3/4 of a and I think I went too far to maybe half a hole or something like that. I just never could get it back right.
Yeah, you need to have somebody that knows what they're doing do it. But I would start with getting the pump fixed, bro. Get screws in that thing to suitable.
The 600 manageable. I mean, obviously you build them to 600, so I mean it's not horrible. Or could it be 550 or 575?
Somewhere. Yep.
So just call Bennett tomorrow. Try to get. I can set the pump off and have it going back through. Should I just go ahead and put it?
I'd have them do that because there's no reason to change them if you don't need to.
Right.
Good.
And what stage head would you advise?
We have a stage 3 head for that. That's going to be, your 5% more nickel and Inconel intake and exhaust, and 30% bigger cooling channel. It's going to be way better.
Good. All right. I greatly appreciate your time, sir.
All right, brother. Have a good night.
You too, man. Thanks.
All right, guys, we're coming up to the end of this shitty show that doesn't seem to want to stay online for me. I'll leave the screws out and try plumbing some propane. Or eat. I like it. Got 5 more callers. I'm gonna try and burn through. I'm not gonna take any more calls. So if you call after this, I won't take your call. I've got 10 minutes left of the show. Go ahead and take this Canadian caller. What can we do for you?
Hey there. Actually, I have a C15 and a Columbia, and I was having some injector issues, so I put a set of injectors. It was running nice, but I noticed my boost was going like 14, 15. Started spraying some soapy water. Ends up being the intercooler. Changed the intercooler, but I'm not getting more than 22. No matter what I do, change the fuel pump, random sensors here and there. So my question is, should I go into like the turbo sensors, or now it's like a turbo issue? Because sometimes when I'm on the hill, I can see it smoking black. Not too much, but there's puff going on. So I don't know if maybe the actuator is stuck because it's a very old. It's a 2000. I think it's original.
Yeah, it's probably the you have the little V pod down there on the chassis that goes up to the turbo.
It's a C15. So
I was
just
thinking.
the
I was thinking it had a,
yeah,
I was
yeah.
thinking it had a Detroit. Sorry.
No.
You said Columbia, and I just automatically
okay.
thought Detroit.
Yeah. It's usually the.
Yeah, usually the case, but
yeah.
I mean, it sounds like your problem started air-to-air problem. It sounds like you probably didn't get all the problem cured.
Really?
Well, I mean, it's what it sounds like.
Yeah,
You're still not building boost. I don't know if you fried your turbo.
No, yeah, the boost.
Still not building boost, and you're blowing black smoke, which means you're not burning all the fuel because you're not getting enough air. I mean, I think you've probably only found half the problem there.
So I think maybe I have to probably go into the turbo now because I don't think any sensor is gonna really do the trick.
No check engine lights?
Sorry? No check engine lights, nothing, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, have you put the air-to-air tester on there and tested everything out? All your pipes and boots and the...
Yeah, like everything. Even everything. I even switched the air-to-air. I put a brand new air-to-air.
Okay. Is it it's an 04.
Yeah.
So is it an MBN?
04, yeah. Well, MBN, but I put a 6NZ file on it. And then the injectors that I did, I put a 6NZ file. The 6NZ injector. I think like it ends in 81.
8102s or 8102s.
Yeah, something
probably.
like that, yeah.
So the problem here, brother, right out the gate, is your MBN head and 6NZ do not share the same camshaft, and they do not share the same piston ground.
Right. Got it.
So
this is like the
timing's
in the middle.
The timing's different. So yeah, you got it in the middle.
Right.
So with that in mind, I don't have much advice to give you or any kind of troubleshooting to give you until you have cured it to be one or the other. It's got to be one or the other, man.
I hear you.
We just
if I was to do the turbo, would you?
We just got through fixing one that came here that's the exact same thing. All they did was drop 6NZ injectors and change the tube.
Oh, no way.
And it was having all kinds of problems, and then we completed it out to a 6NZ, and now it works great. What a surprise.
No, it works great. So I think I got to go over the hump, I guess. All right, well. Okay, I'll see what we could do from there. I appreciate your time.
All right, brother. Have a good night.
All right, take care. Bye.
Bye. Why do guys do this to their trucks? Everybody's into doing halfway. You know, the Cummins guys are actually worse, to be honest with you. You know, guys do it on the Cats really bad where they'll go halfway. You know, they have like these Frankenstein engines, but the Cummins guys are way worse because what they do in the Cummins worlds is they'll have, you know, a CPL that's rated for max 535 or 475 or something, and they'll go flash it with a 605 because the flash files are so interchangeable. And it's really the Cummins guys that fuck their shit up more than anybody. You know? And they do files. Whereas Cat guys are really it all with hard. They're never going all the way, you know. I don't know. It's just kind of silly. But with any of those, it's you know, if you're making the change, you gotta go all the way. You won't have all these problems. Okay, last 4 callers. You're on the air. What can we do for you? Hello.
Yeah, Aaron, hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, your manifolds and your turbos for an A-cert. I just overhauled this with an AFA kit, and I kept everything legitimate, straight as she was born on an MXS. On your turbos, what's the difference between, for one, are you guys producing the A-cert turbo, high pressures and low pressures?
Yeah. There's a nationwide shortage of the high pressure turbo right now. And I think they have them again, but we've been selling just cartridges for the high pressure turbo for guys that are desperate and need to get back on the road. But yes.
Okay. Well, what I got going on is I'm used my last A-cert I had. I just dumped all that stuff, and I don't want to do that because I want to keep the free cooler for protecting my engine and keeping everything down. If I smoke the turbo, that catches it. But what I've got going on is I've got some massive top end, what I call massive, a lot of top end turbo lag. It'll get up to 50, 52 pounds, but it won't want to hold it there. And it's slow to building up. And assuming that it's my high pressure turbo is getting weak on it because it doesn't want to hold it. I could be wrong.
You can't build 50 pounds of boost on an A-cert and have a bad high pressure turbo. It's probably
Okay.
low pressure turbo isn't doing anything to help your high pressure turbo get where it's got to go. That's probably what's going on.
Okay, so it's probably the low pressure turbo.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Well, that's because when I'm down in Florida running across 10, normally, I mean, I'm running just fine, but when I'm down there, it'll want to fog, act like an old turned up B model, not real heavy, but A-Sax. And I'm just 550. You know, nothing stupid on this thing because I'm going for longevity. I've played the 1,000 horsepower game that costs way more money than I'm willing to spend anymore. So, all right, well then I will try just replacing the low pressure turbo in it and see if that fixes it. But
you sure, on a stock Acer, you shouldn't be blowing any black smoke. I mean, maybe a little bit, but not anything noticeable. No, that's
I agree with that.
So you got fuel not burning.
But it doesn't do it all the time. That's the whole thing.
All right, you got fuel not burning for some reason. Before I went and spent money on turbos, not that I don't want to sell you a turbo, but before I went and spent money on turbos, I would certainly look into making sure I don't have a boost leak, or actually on an A-cert especially, I mean, look for an exhaust leak. You just got
all my bellows myself. All my bellows are new. I put all those on new air, everything. All my boots are good, everything like that. And I'm really running. I'm not running hot, or I don't have a little, or anything like that. Could it also be my boost sensor? Could that cause what's going on? Like I said,
100%, especially on the Acer. 100%.
That's the cheapest alternative to fix. But I'm really interested in your guys' manifolds. I didn't put a manifold on this, but I'm looking to put a new manifold on it. So I'm gonna try yours out.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I appreciate it. So I just wanted to. I couldn't get a straight answer, but we'll just put a new set of turbos on it. Well, I don't want to put. I don't have to replace.
Yeah, for sure.
That's. Yep. All right. Well, I appreciate it. You answered my questions, and if that boost sort of work, I'll go with boost or turbo. Go from there.
That's
all right. Well, thank you.
Yep. Have a good night, man.
Yep, you too. Bye.
Kind of an expensive way to troubleshoot. Go with the one turbo, then the next. But sometimes I've been there, especially on the Acer. It's really hard to tell. Matt Whipple said, how far in advance do I need to get on the books for an in-frame? Matt, we're not doing in-frames no more, brother. But you have my number, man. You know how to help you out. Obviously, there's going to be some people on this planet that we might make exceptions for and still do an in-frame. But as a general rule, we're not doing them anymore. You just have to hit us up. And as far as in advance, I ain't gonna worry about that. All right, 3 more calls. We'll run through them here. Josh, you're on there, brother. What can we do for you?
Hey, buddy. I got a 12.7, and I started pushing a little bit of coolant, I noticed. And I done all the stuff, done the bottle bubble test. You can let this thing sit 2 or 3 days, go out there, fire it up, instant bubbles. If you run it all day long, it'll push a little bit of coolant. Isn't overheated with me. And you can thing off 2 or 3 days later, still have a lot of pressure in the system. My first thought was probably a cracked head somewhere between the valve seats or something. Pulled off the intake and exhaust manifolds, and number 6 back there looked a little shiny. Pulled the head off, sent it to machine shop. They came back, said the head, it ain't cracked. Some of the valve seats and stuff, and the valve, a little bit that looks too hot. The injector would be, and he said, so where do I go from here? Nothing's mixing.
Well, first of all, they're only stainless steel on the 14-liter.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So, but just got what the guy's machine shop told me.
Well, you have the head off.
Not mixing any oil. Not.
You have the head
Yeah,
off.
go
right?
ahead. Yeah.
So, have you checked the liner heights? Your protrusions all good?
Yep. Yep. Checked all those. The only one that was a little funny was number 1. I checked it in one spot. I think it was 33. Checked in another spot. Checked in another spot and got 34. But that's all within spec.
Mm-hmm.
And the rest of them from 2 back to 6. All was the same across the board.
Well, doing a bottle test is not an accurate way of finding out if you had problems. That's what I've told you first. I would never. If you didn't go down.
Well, I did a pressure check and let it sit overnight, and maybe lost a couple psi. But nothing major.
Right, but the way here's how you hear this, without any guesswork. You go get your combustion gas tester, and Napa sells probably the best one. You can get the same one off Amazon, and you put the little blue fluid in there, and you put it on top, and you squeeze the little rectum squeezer.
Yep.
And if it
done that, and it barely changed colors,
but
it wasn't like it went from dark blue to like just an off blue. It wasn't like it was a big noticeable difference.
I would keep doing the same test over and over again until you're 100% certain.
What you may think to go next, because like I said, I wouldn't mix in any oil, no fuel in the coolant.
If you're positive that this is combustion gas getting in there, throw the head in the dumpster and get a different.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely not gonna. I'm gonna get a new head, but also whenever I looked at the head gasket, it looked pretty good until you got back there at number 6. It looked like maybe where one of the old return galleys were. Maybe it was rolled a little bit, but nothing stood out.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Let's see. These kind of problems where you're pressuring up your cooling system, without exception, obviously, there's an exception to anything. I always have to make this disclaimer, but 99% of the time, without exception, come about from some kind of event. Okay, long time the 6 month to a year prior to probably almost guarantee there's some kind of an external event that happened. We lost a coolant line. We had to add coolant for some reason or another. Or there's some kind of tuning issue going on or something like that. It's got a hot tune, yada, yada, yada. There's something. There's always something. And the worst part is getting a guy to tell you what that is, right? Because there's a stigma to that, oh, I can't, if I get it hot, then everyone's going to think I'm stupid. Or if I have some dumbass tune on, everybody's going to think I'm stupid. But that doesn't help get the engine fixed, right? So it needs good. What's
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
I'm asking what event is correlated to this?
Well, as far as I know, so I picked up the truck. It was a glider truck. It had a Fitzgerald in it, and he pulled it out because it crapped out on it and put a reman Detroit around the 1st of 22. And he run it hard for maybe a year. Then he got sick, and he was kind of running on and off. And then he come out of the truck, and it sat for about a year. And then when he passed, I picked it up from him. And I poured this fly. And so I've been running the truck on and off, 4 or 5 months here or there, just jumping back and forth between that truck and my Kenworth.
And never had to put any coolant in it for any reason? You're not even to keep it full?
No, I've not. I had to do anything to it at all. I might have had a little bit. It's just like I call it kind of cool or something. So I had to my hoses and everything. But that, no, never overheated with me or anything. Nothing that would stand out. That's why I was like, well, it's a factory Detroit reman.
Only one time you've had to put a half gallon in it, or it's kind of all the time and you're looking for the leak?
No, just like one time or so that I can recall. It wasn't. It's not like it's not like adding oil to it. You burn a little oil between here and there and oil changes. No, just one time that I can recall.
And it's just a factory.
And I plugged up to it with J-Pro, and there's nothing that I've seen, overheating events where it might have ran hot or something like that,
Yeah, your gasket should have told you some kind of story. If it's not the head.
Yeah, that's what I would say.
It's probably the head.
But, letting something through.
Even if they are, throw the head in the dumpster.
Yeah. I'm with you on that.
No, I mean,
definitely going with probably an aftermarket new, something like that. What kind of head are you guys? What kind of head do you guys got?
We have aftermarket heads, of course. We do upgrades to them, but you don't have. You don't have to upgrade them. Yeah, you can. We're gonna have options for the Detroit. You're gonna be stage 2, stage 3, or tell you all about that. But no worries, man. Just I mean, I don't know why you're having the problem, but it almost certainly correlates to some kind of event.
Yeah.
Before you even.
Yeah, so where. Right, I just didn't know where maybe I don't mind.
Oh yeah, I seriously. The problem is most likely the head. The head's causing all the problems.
Yeah. All right. Well, I appreciate it, bud. I'll reach out to you guys tomorrow or something, maybe see what I can figure out about a head.
All right, brother, man. Have a good night.
All right, you too, bud.
Bye. Yeah, that's true. He could have pinholes in his liners. That is true. Been a truck that hasn't been overhauled in a long time, that was being ran with coolant from back in the day, and ran modern coolant. Isaiah, you're on the air, brother. 2 guys left. What can we do for you?
Hey, glad to be on the air. But so the shop I work at, we've been running into this issue on the we only do Cummins, like we're Cummins all day, every day. So on the ISX platform, we've been running into this issue of engine brake running clearance. Have you? How do you set that? Like, I'm gonna be real honest. Screw.
Engine brake running clearance.
Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, it's it's messing with us real bad.
Like on your ISXs?
Yeah, correct. But apparently, we're getting comebacks on it. So, I know you've built a lot of engines, so you like, have you ever so when you're building an ISX rocker shaft, when you like torque them, like when you're about to torque them down, the engine brake. This is a problem we're running into, which is that you know, like ball that should be sitting in the detent.
Mm-hmm.
If you do, when you like you go to torque down the engine, the rocker shaft assembly. If you don't, so you need like roll back the shaft, like the whole assembly. You should roll it back, and then torque it down, and then you're running like the valve, and then you let's say you touch the engine valve, the engine brake rocker, it should have a running clearance. So like let's say you're about to and you're pushing the engine down, but as in the rocker, it should have like a clearance between where that decent to where the shaft either A will what we've been experiencing is the engine will have a vibration noise or they'll complain because there's no running because if you need me to explain anything, I'll try to do my best. I know that wasn't a great explanation.
My brain a little bit.
But you're hurt. Our brains are hurt. Like our shop, we're getting hit with this.
I've never. You're right. Is somebody saying it's a prank call? It's kind of what it feels like. I'm
not. No, I'm trying not to do that.
You're right. I don't know. The ISX is the easiest engine to work on for fact. Cummins Insight. You have Cummins Insight. You don't need to ask anybody anything. It tells you exactly how to do it.
No, I understand what you're saying. What I'm thinking basically set the wrong lead, a front shaft and a rear shaft. when you physically shut the shaft on the the head, when you torque it down, you are you guys just torquing it down and that's it?
Mm-hmm.
So what we're coming into, and I'm really buggled. Again, maybe customers are messing with me, but it seems to play an effect. But you have to roll the rocker shaft slightly back, and otherwise, so when you're in quick serve and you not Google, but quick serve in the overhead set, they keep like preaching about like engine brake running clearance.
Mm-hmm.
If I that's what I'm saying. It's really fucking with us, and I don't know how to fix it. But let's say we put a rocker shaft on, and we're about to set number 6.
Mm-hmm.
If you push the engine brake down, like as in the rocker itself, it has to have a minimum allowance, like 10 to
Mm-hmm.
and set during. You have to roll it back, and if you don't, there's no running clearance,
Okay.
and that's really been fucking us. Have you guys ran into that at all, or we just have bad luck?
No. No, and it's not. Yeah, running turns is you install a rocker shaft. It's not like some trick that you do beforehand. That's kind of where you're confusing me. So,
No, you're good. That's kind of where my question is at, because we've been kind of getting screwed on this. It's like we throw the rocker shaft on, we torque it, and then like I'm gonna be real honest. I don't check the running clearance. I set the valve lash, and I'm like, it's good.
mm-hmm.
And then they're like, hey, when I do use the engine brakes, there's a real crazy noise, and then it comes back, obviously, because it is what it is. But there's no running clearance. Then we fix it, and then we have running clearance. I'm just trying to. I'm gonna be real honest.
Sounds, and the comment section is really kind of agreeing. Sounds like you have bad rocker shafts, worn out rocker shafts, and you're going back with worn out rocker shafts, and it's throwing everything off.
So it's a possibility. So I'm not gonna say 100, but probably at least 50 cams on an ISX,
mm-hmm.
and this has never been an issue.
Right.
But this last, like, let's say month or two, they're like, hey, that engine noise, like, as soon as I hit my jakes, it's the noise is running clearance.
Mm-hmm.
And
they do.
It's out. And I just know what I've been taught is you're torquing that shaft assembly. What I've been taught is you start all the bolts but one, and then you slightly tilt one towards the exhaust. You kind of zap it in, because you're trying to. How do I prevent this? Like every time, like
replace. One guy in the comments, he says you need to replace the detents. I think you need to go back with some new equipment there, bud.
So right now, I currently, as we speak, have a truck in the shop. It's a nightmare truck. It's been through many shops. Tomorrow, I have to fix. Like I'm pretty much done with it, but it had the detents wore out, and so I'm kind of like, that's why I'm calling you today. Like, avoid this. That's kind of my main question.
Never had the problem ever. Never.
Really?
Nope.
Okay, we're just getting like we just had bad luck the last month. Like, to be fair, like I said to you earlier, I've done a many cams.
Yep.
We're just getting hit by bad luck.
I mean, I guess. You know, make sure that none of your equipment's fucked up. You're measuring to, your tools for gauging all that. There's something going on there.
All right. Well, it is what like I agree. Like there's something going on, but it might be on our end. That's what I was kind of trying to call you. Like maybe you, I kind of want you to talk it to me. Like what am I doing wrong here?
Judging by my personal experience and judging by the comment section of all the guys that build Cummins in here, this is a kind of a unique problem.
Our shop has pushed out many. Like we push out many.
So you have
and
a correlation. Done all these engines not have this problem. You have guys aren't having this problem, and all of a sudden you are. Might be right. And one guy in here is trying to be helpful as possible. He said the detents need to be replaced. He needs to look at the spot on the shaft the detents rest in. It's got to be related to that. It's got to be something to do with it's just putting it off kilter there.
Okay.
Another guy.
That's helpful information. I really appreciate that.
Another guy says I only had this happen once, and it was worn out detents. And that was about 100. So yeah, there's consensus the problem that you're having.
It's going to come off cuff, but when you put the rocker shaft on, whether it's the front or the rear, are you guys just sending that, or are you guys like how I've always been taught is you put, let's say it's, I think off my mind it says 6 bolts or maybe a little bit more, but you put. I've always been taught you start the 5 bolts and then the 5th bolt or the 6th, you put pressure on it and lean it towards the exhaust and then down the other bolts. Is that how you guys are doing it, or you want?
No. I don't think there's any that anybody's doing it.
That was all. Actually, that helped me a lot. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Have a good night, man. Good luck.
Yeah, you too. Yeah, appreciate it. Bye.
Now I'm gonna go eat a bowl of Fruit Loops. We're here. We're almost half hour past. Thanks for hanging on. What can we do for you?
Yeah, Aaron. Hey, this is Marvin up here in Nebraska. I've been following you since North Dakota. Quick question, and I'll let you go. I unfortunately am not going to be able to come to your shop. I got a Cummins. I got 379 red top in it. It's getting overhauled now. They're in framed. How far can I drive it before we get the brake in hard, like pulling it? Like I'm about 60 miles up. It's flat. That hurt it to drive it home that far before I could load her down and pull it to break it in.
Yeah, find a good buddy to bring you a loaded trailer there.
Okay. I could probably get that.
Well,
that's the only trouble. I had to take her down empty, and
That's a long ways, man. 60 miles a long ways. You're not going to get it up to operating temperature. You're certainly going to be wet stacking it. I'd have no doubt in my mind. I mean, no matter how hard, no matter how hard you try, it's going to be happening. The worst scenario, especially this time of year, it's almost guaranteed you're going to wet stack it. And the fuel wins the fight against oil, right? And have completely glazed liners by the time you get home. Man, you just need to try and get a trailer there, and right out the gate, man. And that first 50 miles is the most important.
That's what I was.
If the ambient air is not above 70 degrees, I'm going to put some cardboard in front of the radiator. Not the whole damn thing, but at least half of it.
Okay.
And you can adjust as needed and get that thing hot and put it under load. And I mean, even if you don't have any hills, as long as you have a load on, you can put 5, 8, 10 pounds, on the truck and trailer combination, and you can put that thing under a hell of a load without burning the wheels off, So getting a loaded trailer, even a semi-loaded trailer, even a fucking empty trailer, does give you more brakes so you could kind of achieve getting some kind of load. That 60 miles to home, you could get that engine fan to come on, on its own maybe 10 times. By the time you get home, you're done. It's broke in.
Right. Okay. Okay. Well, that's why I was calling you. I got to thinking about that. Yeah, I've got the perfect hills close to get broke in, but just getting her home.
Yeah.
But
that's
I will get a trailer to it.
Yeah. What state are you in?
Oh, I can get Nebraska.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm 13 miles straight north of you. Or 13 hours.
Right. It's a lot up there.
Yeah, it's hanging in the 50s and 60s. So I hope it's a nicer day to get it on it.
Yeah, even so.
Well, that was my question for you. I enjoy your show, and thanks for the input.
All right, brother. Well, good luck with that one. I hope all successful.
Thank you. Bye.
Have a good night. Bye. Whew. At least my voice made it to the end. It almost didn't. I feel it starting to go. Where were you in North Dakota? We were exactly between Minot and Williston. It's literally 60 miles to go to either one. We were right by Stanley. Stanley's kind of familiar to some people, but we were actually in Ross, which is right down the road from Stanley, about 7 miles away. That's where we were at in North Dakota. We were at oil field, buddy. We were in the oil field. Right smack dab in the middle of it. And right smack dab you drive a mile this way and there's a nuclear silo. You drive a mile that way, there's another nuclear silo. That wasn't very fun to live in. So now it wasn't a huge factor, but it was one of the factors of why we wanted to leave there. Am I really not doing in-frames anymore? That's correct. We're not doing in-frames anymore. And after this last hurrah promotions that we did, we're planning on not doing out-of-frames anymore either. What we would like to do in the future, we have 6 options available for anybody. If, pick any engine, we're offering 6 options: short blocks, long block plus, our longevity build, our performance build, and our elite build. So we would like our phone calls to go in the future is, what kind of engine are you looking to purchase from us today? We're still going to do removals and installs and all that, but we can just service people so much better if they can just get an engine and they're not going on a list for 5 months and we finally get them back up and going. Why not Minot? Well, Minot's pretty far out of the oil field, brother. I was in the middle of the oil field, and that's what I did was oil field work. Do I remember ProTech? I did this was the I'm familiar with that as a store that I went into. but it was still there. I have Select Plus with 1.2 million miles, got blow by, but it runs perfect. Should I overhaul it or run it? Well, the problem with running trucks that have known crankcase pressure problems is you tend to spend a hell of a lot more money on them later than you do front. It does that combustion gas going down into the crankcase absolutely erodes the oil, and the outside, to be honest with you. But if you catch where the rod comes out the side, you end up with all kinds of valve train damage, all kinds of bushing damage, all kinds of crank damage, all kinds of cam damage. Once they start putting that combustion gas in the crankcase, guys, you got 2,000-degree gas cooking the oil, ruining it, and you're putting all that soot in there, and if you don't have an oil bypass, I mean, it's just not good. Now, I recommend have bad blow by or changing their oil every 4,000 miles. Change your oil maintenance program to like every 4,000 miles, because that's the only thing that's going to keep you from a rod slinging out the side. Anyway, guys, we probably better wrap it up. Apologize to everybody on Facebook and YouTube for our incredibly shitty internet that I spend a shit ton of money on every week or every month, and it still doesn't do a good job. February will be over in our new shop. We have fiber over there. We should be streaming 1,000 miles an hour and no longer have any of these problems. I can't wait. That will be amazing. How often do you do an overhead? I recommend every 100,000 miles. Most OEM manufacturers have the same consensus. So anyway, guys, I probably better wrap it up. Like I said, y'all have a good night. We appreciate you. Again, Facebook, YouTube, appreciate you hanging out despite the absolutely incredibly shitty internet that we had. Still appreciate you guys anyway. Thank you very much. I will see you next week. Yeah, I got fiber at my house. I have fiber at my house, and it's fucking badass. You know what's crazy though is I have Starlink. That's what we're running on right now, and I have Starlink on my boat. And I could be underway, sailing out in the Gulf of America, and somebody could be playing Call of Duty online underway, and 3 or 4 kids on tablets and everybody on their phones and this and that. No fucking problem. No fucking problem. Here I am stationary with a way bigger satellite dish, and the internet's shit. Come on, Elon. Figure it out. God. Anyway, just bring the satellite from satellite dish from the boat here. Maybe it'd work better. But anyway, guys, going. I'll have a appreciate you. See you next week. Anyway, you guys have a good night. You guys too. Have a good night.